Chase, you're muted.
Every time that happens. Anyways, how's it going, guys? I brought on a very special guest of ours, and also a very close client now, um, Alex Zabaski. This guy has been a member of our syndicate for a little while now and is absolutely crushing it in the telesales space, and he will be an absolute force to be reckoned with in the telesales space in future years to come. If you don't know who he is, follow his ass because you need to know who he is. He's an absolute beast. I wanted to bring him on and ask him a couple questions on his experience in the syndicate. First and foremost, man, can you just maybe give us like a background story of your journey in the insurance space? Who is Alex Zabaski and where did you come from?
Sure. So I started a little bit differently than most everybody else out there. So I didn't just jump right into being independent. I started out, captive. But I happened to start out captive at, Fortune 50 companies. Did client management and then learned how to sell insurance and got proficient to the point that I was doing a couple million a year. No, that's not true. A million a year for a couple of years on my own pen before I finally, made the leap. Just all live transfers, inbound calls, case management, following up, getting clients across the finish line, but producing at what I didn't even realize was a really high level in that space, in the Fortune 50 space.
Yeah.
Came over, went independent, and then just started crushing it. Like took all that experience, all that training. It's been like 4 months in training before I was ever on the phones over there, and finally went independent. And just been rocking and rolling ever since.
Awesome. And where were you, what were you doing in respects of leads? Where were you getting leads, etc.? I don't have to name the companies, but were you specific to live transfers before joining the syndicate? And
Yeah.
where
So
were you before in respects of like predictable sales or whatever
yeah.
have you?
Well, so just to be really frank, I've only done live transfers. And you probably don't want to hear me say this because I know we're talking about the syndicate here, but I've never not made money on leads for live transfers. Like it doesn't matter what vendor it is. It can be an
100%.
overseas vendor, it can be EverQuote or a data lot or whatever. Like I think just kind of like the way I go through sales and the way I teach sales and everything else, like every single lead vendor, I'm positive, you know. Even that's just doing a one call close and never following up. But I think that kind of answers your question. Like I've been all over the place, right? I've done the foreign transfers, I've done the EverQuotes, the data lots, the smart financials, the whatever, and been all around the world. Now here I am.
Yeah. What would you say the difference between those places and now being in the syndicate? What have you gained from being here? And even maybe some specific results or any monetary gain, educational gains that you've had, etc.
Yeah, well, I feel like I will say I know I do a lot of the training for kind of the syndicate. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm hosting the training tonight, for
Yeah.
example. So I
Exactly.
don't know I don't know if I really gotten that much out of that other than just specific underwriting from some of the other members, which has been absolutely real time incredible. But really just it's a really high quality, consistent lead. And I think one thing I didn't like at first or didn't think I would like and why I almost didn't join is one of my favorite reasons for being there is that there's not like a pause button. There's not a you can clock out and clock in if you're having a bad day. Like take
Yeah.
today for example, right? Like I started the day, first call I got, I made 2 sales.
Yeah.
Then I went dry for like 4 calls. Just some calls
Great.
barely passed the buffer, the whole
Great.
thing. But the last call right before I jumped on here, 1300 AP. So it doesn't let you give up. It forces you to be there until you make your ROI. And
Yeah.
that could be for a day or whatever else, right? But I just really appreciate that. I don't I was really pushing for a pause button. Now I don't even want one. I'm just like, no, I want to get all my agents set up, trained up, and just because it forces you to work.
And let's touch on that because you like many others in the program have a buffer, but you don't you're not using a buffer and allow transfer to truthfully qualify. It's just there for technical issues. Truthfully, like you've been just taking basically every single call to the fullest. And I'd like to also add, you're relentless on the phones, and I don't think people understand truly what it takes to be a high producer on the phones. Because yeah, it can be pretty easy. You're getting calls, sent to you. You don't have to dial. You get rid of a lot of the struggles that typical agents maybe endure. But there is some feng shui and groove that you need to be into to kind of dial in and ask for the sale as many times as yourself does, right?
Yeah.
Like you go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of have to. And you never know where a call's going to lead. Like a call can come in and say, I don't have a bank account. I don't have a checking account. I don't have a credit card. I don't have any money. I don't have any income. You get those
Yeah,
calls. Still make sales. Totally fine. Because guess what? They live with their brother and the brother has a bank account. Okay, so brother's payor, and we're just going to rock this policy out. His brother's going to take care of it if the brother pays what, $50 now or pays 8 grand to bury you. So I think the
yeah,
brother wants to pay $50. But yeah, I mean, if you listen to most of my calls, and I don't know how many of my calls you actually listen to, but um, for the first during the buffer time, the first 90 seconds, I don't even talk about insurance.
yeah,
Like, how's your day going? Oh, it's okay. I'm taking care of my kid. Oh, okay, great. Well, let's talk about your sick kid. Do you think he has the flu or you think it's the coronavirus? Like the hell with the buffer. I'm just trying
yeah,
to have a conversation and get them to have the next conversation, right?
yeah, yeah. So lastly, how would you describe, just truthfully, the quality of the calls that are coming through?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the the quality is great. I mean, I think I'm closing something like 55% of the calls you send me. I mean, today was kind of a fluke, right? I closed like
Not to
2
mention
out of 5.
not to mention you're taking like 70% of every call
I
past
think you
buffer.
should explain what that means. Oh, past the buffer? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I don't ever hang up on clients unless no, I mean like every call I don't take past the buffer. If you go listen to them, it's the caller hung up before the transfer got them to me.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's just the nature of the
That
beast, right?
happens.
That's just
Nature of the beast.
technical issues, as you say. But
Yeah.
no, call quality is great. No complaints there.
So
Actually, just compliments there.
yeah, speaking to even just the results that you have, I know we've seen your ROI. You're sitting at like basically $180 cost per acquisition right now, which
Mhm.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Repeatable too for yourself.
yeah.
What makes it so repeatable, you think?
Sales process, like the way I go through it. Like if you listen to other people, I just do it so differently.
Yeah.
Like if you look how long my sales calls are, like the ones I make sales on, they're all over an hour, right? Like you see that, you can see how what my talk time is. You see the whole back end.
Yeah.
But and other people, they'll be on and off the phone in 30 minutes, and I don't understand how you build rapport or you actually even get enough financial or health information to do a good job for your client or
Mhm.
build the need in that amount of time. It makes no sense to me. But if you can do that, phenomenal, you know.
Mhm.
But no, I think slowing down, going through it the right way, the way you maximize the ROI is you maximize every phone call. You don't prejudge a phone call. Some of the largest policies I've ever written were people that sounded like they had no business buying insurance. Turns
Yeah.
out they're farmers and they have a $12 million farm in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. Not expecting that, but
Yeah.
it just goes back to try to help the people in front of you and don't prejudge it. And if you approach every lead that way, then great. A lot of people come in and say, I know, I told them I already had insurance. I don't need insurance. It's like, okay, great. Well, yeah, most of my clients start out already having a policy, and they just
Yeah.
don't realize how inexpensive things have gotten since the life expectancy has been extended. So,
And
I mean, did you get it a long time ago? If you did, you're probably not in the best spot. You want me to see how much money I can save you?
I think a lot of people, it is, you said it 100% right in the beginning. It is 100% the sales process. And you take agents through the same process each and every time. And if I can look at everybody that's truly significantly successful at transfers, is they've dialed in that exact A to Z process, which they're
Yeah.
taking their fuckers through, their prospects through, and
Yep.
um, you really cash in on that. Like, and as well as you take your time with every prospect, and it's especially with live transfers, I think a lot of agents get wrong where they try to cherry pick, and this is not. This just happens. This is just agent mindset of finding the right best customer. And I have 90 seconds to find out, so I might as well use that
Yeah.
90 seconds when it should be flipped in reality, when you should really take the time in that first little bit to build the rapport, show that you
Yeah.
give a shit about
Yeah.
their kids, etc. Right?
Yep.
That first five minutes of the phone call is crucial.
And I think that I was spoiled in the way I was brought into the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that by doing it because I didn't pay for leads for 2 years. You know, my company sent me every live transfer I could ever wait. We had clients on the line waiting 15, 20 minutes to talk to an agent.
Yeah.
So it's it it just taught me that, hey, I got all the time in the world. Like, plus I was being paid hourly, so I didn't care if the call took an hour and a half or not. But it it really is about trying to uncover the opportunities because you really never know what's going on. And I mean, there are some calls that you can tell very quickly, and I mean really quickly, if there's nothing you can do with it. It's like I told him I had a conservator. I don't have any money. I don't have access to anything. Well, there's literally nothing I can do with a court appointed conservator over your finances. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's that one's got to go. you know? Yeah. But, you know, with you guys, I haven't really had that problem. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are probably like two or three calls in all of the ones I've taken that haven't been a really good qualified lead knowing they're talking about life insurance.
Yeah. That's the big thing, knowing that they weren't wanting to talk about life
Mhm.
insurance, because you get that a lot in live
Yeah.
transfer. Well, Alex, I appreciate you. We got to jump on our live training in the syndicate for 7. So we will say goodbye to our Facebook friends.
Goodbye, Facebook friends.
Awesome. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, get in touch with you, maybe they got some insight, some value from this little live jam session, where should they get a hold of you at?
They should
Facebook?
reach out. Sure. Or they should reach out to you and you can have them reach out to me.
Beautiful, beautiful,
That way
awesome,
it goes
guys.
through you.
Well, pleasure having you on, my man, and we'll see you in
Yeah.
about 5
Anytime,
minutes for the
Chase.
live training. Cheers,
Of
bud.
course. See it.